Recent photographs of Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, published by The Sun on April 16, 2026, have prompted significant discussion regarding their origins, with strong indications suggesting the images may have been self-arranged after a reported absence of over 200 days from public view. The pictures depicted Ferguson emerging from a Mercedes people carrier at a luxury alpine chalet in Austria, where accommodation costs are reported be $2,000 per night, dressed in a blue coat and a white baseball cap. The circumstances surrounding this exclusive publication raise questions about the nature of the engagement. The credited photographer, Doug Seberg, operates from Windsor in Berkshire, the same Yen where members of the royal family reside. Mr. Seberg possesses over 3 decades of experience, having worked for both local and national newspapers, and he received his photography education from the Berkshire College of Art and Design. His professional career has been predominantly associated with The Sun, indicating that he is not a random paparazzo who coincidentally encountered Ferguson in a secluded Austrian location, but rather an established photographer with deep connections, the very media network that disseminated the images. The legal framework within Austria, particularly its robust protection of the right of publicity, adds another layer to this situation. The Austrian Supreme Court has previously ruled that a violation of this right can occur even when an individual's facial expressions are not clearly discernible, provided there are sufficient additional elements to identify the person. Furthermore, a 2013 ruling extended this protection, determining that merely taking photographs of someone can, under specific conditions, infringe upon their personality rights. In practical terms, publishing identifiable photographs of an individual at a private facility in Austria without their explicit consent would likely constitute a breach of the law. This presents a clear dichotomy: either The Sun published these pictures unlawfully, or Sarah Ferguson granted her approval for their release, leaving no comfortable middle ground. Further supporting the notion of a pre-arranged scenario is The Sun's deliberate decision to withhold the precise name of the spa or facility where Ferguson was staying. Such restraint is uncharacteristic for a tabloid newspaper promoting a world exclusive, and this omission appears more consistent with the outcome of a negotiated agreement than a spontaneous photographic ambush. This event aligns with a long-standing pattern observed over several decades, characterized by financial challenges and a history of monetizing connections the British royal family. A notable example of this pattern occurred in 2010, when a News of the World sting operation captured Ferguson on a hidden camera. During this incident, she was recorded offering cell access her former husband, Prince Andrew, for a sum of $500,000. Footage from that evening showed $40,000 in cash displayed on a table before her, which she subsequently carried out of the hotel room in a computer case. Following the incident, Ferguson issued a public apology, describing her actions as a serious lapse in judgment, and later asserted that the event resulted in the destruction of $40 million in potential earnings. Financial difficulties have consistently shadowed Ferguson since her departure from the immediate royal fold. Biographer Andrew Lowney reported that her debts had already surpassed $3.7 million by 1994. Upon the finalization of her divorce from Prince Andrew in 1996, Ferguson received an estimated $475,000. This figure stands in stark contrast to the $22 million Princess Diana obtained from her divorce in the same year. Ferguson explained her choice Oprah Winfrey, stating her desire for friendship with the family and friendship with the boss, referring the late Queen Elizabeth II. However, this emphasis on familial connection did not alleviate her financial pressures. Various ventures provided income, including an estimated $1.7 million from Weight Watchers, $500,000 from a single ocean spray commercial, and $100,000 paid by an Austrian businessman solely for her companionship, the Vienna Opera Ball. Additionally, her autobiographies collectively generated approximately $2.7 million across multiple titles, and she published over 40 books in total. Despite these earnings, her expenditures continued to outpace her income. By 2009, Ferguson acknowledged owing $600,000 following the collapse of her American business, Hartmore. During her marriage, she maintained a substantial household staff comprising 17 individuals, including a cook, a driver, a maid, a butler, a dresser, a nanny, 3 secretaries, a personal assistant, a lady-in-waiting, an accountant and an accountant's assistant, 2 gardeners, a flower arranger and a dog walker, highlighting a lifestyle of considerable expense. The connection Jeffrey Epstein exacerbated an already challenging financial situation, transforming it in a catastrophic one. Ferguson publicly admitted receiving $15,000 from Epstein, characterizing it as a gigantic error of judgment. However, the Epstein files, released by the US Department of Justice on January 30, 2026, presented a more troubling account. These documents revealed that Ferguson visited Epstein in Miami just 5 days after his release from prison in 2009. An email attributed her, sent in January 2010, contained the phrases, "You are a legend. I am at your service. Just marry me." A mutual friend reportedly claimed that the sum Ferguson received from Epstein over the years amounted hundreds of thousands of dollars. The repercussions of the Epstein connection were swift and severe. In September 2025, 6 charities severed their ties with Ferguson after an email surfaced in which she referred Epstein as a supreme friend. The organizations that disassociated themselves included the Teenage Cancer Trust, Julia's House, the Natasha Allergy Research Foundation, Prevent Breast Cancer, the British Heart Foundation, and the Children's Literacy Charity. By February 2026, 6 companies where Ferguson was listed as the sole director had filed to be struck off the company's house register. Her charitable foundation, Sarah's Trust, also announced its closure for the foreseeable future. Further losses of public recognition occurred in October 2025, with the forfeiture of her courtesy title, Duchess of York. In March 2026, the City of York Council voted unanimously revoke her freedom of the city, an honour she had held since 1987. One councillor articulated the sentiment by stating that while recipients were not expected to be saints, they were certainly not desired to be best friends of convicted paedophiles. Concurrently, a potential $75 million US publishing deal reportedly collapsed. And information indicated that she had been exploring new media ventures, including a tell-all memoir, an idea that reportedly caused significant unease among her daughters. These developments provide context for the recent appearances on the Austrian mountainside. A public figure with a decades-long history of financial struggles and a documented inclination to monetize her royal connections disappeared from public life for 7 months. During this period, she reportedly stayed at a clinic in Zurich, incurring costs of $76,000 per week, and moved between various borrowed chalets and luxury spas across Europe. Her subsequent reappearance was captured by a Windsor-based photographer with established links to The Sun, in a country where publishing such images without consent would be unlawful, and where The Sun conspicuously chose not to disclose the precise location. While conclusive proof that these photographs were pre-arranged remains elusive, the collective weight of the photographer's professional background, the stringent requirements of Austrian privacy law, The Sun's unusual editorial decisions, and Ferguson's consistent historical pattern of leveraging her association with the Crown for financial gain all point towards a coordinated event. The ongoing narrative of Sarah Ferguson's post-royal life has been defined by 3 decades of inventive strategies capitalize on her connection to the monarchy, and these recent Austrian photographs appear to represent the latest and potentially most desperate chapter in that enduring story.